Hi, teammates. Thank you to Guitarist for pointing this stuff out. Emanuel Swedenborg died 29 March 1772, and the Swedenborg Last Judgment was 1757. That's when he said the Last Judgment was going on. So, and a guy that died in 1757 was Osman III. He died 30 October 1757. He was 58. He was Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. Intolerance of non-Muslims was his statute. He was very intolerant of non-Muslims, and there was a fire in Constantinople the same time as his reign. And he was kind of a prisoner of the palace. He didn't get out much. So he had odd behavior and hated music. And the thing about that is, when I was young, I had OCD really bad, and not the way people say they have OCD. I actually had OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and would have to check things 100 times. And, it was like that with my homework and all my studies, and my mom would have to really help me get through. It was a really rough time in my life when I was about in 4th grade and into 5th grade, 6th grade, and then it stopped in about 7th to 8th grade. And during that time, on the way to school, my mom would have the radio on, and I would have to turn it down because I'd be running things over in my mind. And so I found a similarity with this guy, Osman III. And when we go to Osman's death to Heath Ledger death, you get 91-3-95. So just like the Heath Ledger rampaging on the earth as the Revelation 13 beast, going after Church 2 as the 9, the 10 days, or the, some people say that's the African American church is Church 2. But, anyway, he's going after them, and don't be racist about these things. That's just the way this stuff turns out. And, and then 95, when I was 3 years old, that was in 95, I was 3. And I ran into a cedar chest and had a big scar on my head. And while I was doing that, I was wearing a Batman, helmet, a Batman mask. And that was when I was 3. So that kind of, reminisces with me a little bit as the waster, because the smith is all about music, and then the waster is like, different. It's like acting or something like that. So just some symbolism there. Osman's death to Paul Walker death is 93-5-34. So just like Heath Ledger had an open door for getting past judgment of the Church 2, of the fornication with the black men and all that stuff that goes on in Hollywood. Paul Walker kind of had an open door for that, but he suffered tremendously in a terrible car crash, and, lived his life as, 4G, as 47. So that's the symbolism we see for him, is the 47, and, which is the 74 backwards, which is the cherubs. So, and then the 34 there, I think is talking about even my servant David, from, I think it's, Ezekiel 34, and about the plant of renown and all that stuff. So, under Smith is the waster with that. And then Osman's death to Hendrik Goltzius' death is 51427. Just like 51, Isaiah 51, and 42:7. 42 is the kids, just like the 4 and the 7. That would be Hendrik Goltzius is like Paul Walker. Those two would be kind of the same there. Osman's death to Swedenborg's death is 5265. I thought this one was interesting. Either the Osman the third is the 52, as Isaiah 52, the servant of the Lord, or Swedenborg is the stanza 65 of the Norse mythology, the tear symbolism. I don't know. You'll have to see what you think about that. I don't know a whole lot about Swedenborg, but, you know, I know he had a lot of visions and saw a lot of things in his later life. So that could be like the host that was given to him against the daily sacrifice. You know, like he didn't have to go through psychedelics like today we do. He was given a host and, through food or something normal like that back then. And he went on trips from there. So, and then, William Desmond Taylor, who I see as Michael's symbolism to Osman's death, is 59994. So the 3 9s there is 27. So 52 again, and then the 74. Which that's kind of like an abomination right there, because I don't think Michael is a good character anymore like he used to be. I think that he has fallen from grace. I mean, I don't know for sure. Hopefully he hasn't, but in the story's not switched around like that, but something tells me the story is switched around, and, you know, the dragon could be my Uncle Don or something like that, and we're waiting on that war in heaven, or it's going on right now, and we're the servants of those sides on the earth. And so it's like, you know, the Wolverine symbolism, it's like he stands in the place of Heath Ledger and me, you know, as the hoofs were made brass. And when I was in a dark place, I actually cried out to the Lord, and Micah 4 there was fulfilled. And it was like, why am I crying out to the Lord, saith the Lord? Like, why do you cry out aloud? You know, is there no counsel left